You might be wondering, what are we doing here? It's 1:40 in the afternoon. Well, when the BCW champion says he wants to come on Sportswire Radio in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, you better believe we're going to be here. Because after all, it's all wrestling matters. And this man hasn't been here in a very long time. And he's going to make up for that lost time here. He's going to talk about what everybody's talking about here, Scare Slam 4. But he's also going to get us on that road to 180, where he's putting up that BCW championship. And he's going to talk about maybe this guy who lives in sin, but is maybe going to, in a sinful way, take that championship away. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about finally winning that BCW championship. We'll also talk about becoming a BCW hardcore and world champion. We'll also talk about some news that everybody's talking about here in the backyard in the wrestling circuit, which is Maxwell Reeves is stepping away from BCW at the end of the year. And what about this whole thing with Ace Swagger? We got to get into all of it, but we only got X amount of time, and this man is going to show us why. Not only is he just black and brave, but also why he is the man of the hour. We've got a little surprise from him. Now, I know the last few days on Sportswire Radio, everybody's seen this wrestler pop up here and this wrestler pop up there, but I can assure you, you're not going to see Christian Sin. You're not going to see Ace Swagger. You're not going to even see Maxwell Reeves. But let's start this show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, wait for it. Further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show. He's only one of a select few men that have won the BCW and the BCW Hardcore Championship. He's also been a man that you've seen train in places like, that little place that somebody named Seth Rollins knows a thing or two about. His name is, simply put, undeniably the reigning, defending BCW champion, Caden Gallows. The champ is here. My friend, how are we doing?
You know, after that introduction, I can't even tell you how elated I am. I love being back. Thank you for having me back.
I know. We've talked about this for like 4 or 5 months. I know. I feel really bad because we've been trying to get the hang of this, and my last few months, have been really hectic. We kind of mentioned that little thing just there. Black and Brave has made you really hectic, and you've also won a world championship in that time. So we've been trying to get this down for about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it's been quite busy. We've been trying to, for those who don't know, it's been very, very hard. Schedules aligning, but we finally.
Yeah, I had dental surgery in August. I work in politics, and my schedule was really hectic for a bit. Now I'm off, which is good. But I do news Wednesday nights, so it kind of worked perfectly. That symmetrically, you're available in the afternoon, and so am I, because I'm not here Wednesday nights. So this time it finally worked. The stars aligned, you might want to say.
Yep, absolutely.
It's great to have you back. First of all, congratulations on winning the BCW championship. Certainly long overdue. It was your first shot at the title in about 9 months, and right before your birthday. And I'm going to ask you then to kick things off for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you, Caden Gallows, and also BCW have certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio. Talk to me about what it means to you now to be the reigning, defending BCW heavyweight champion.
When I hear other people say it, just gives me the chills. They run up and down my body. just to know that I finally accomplished a thing that I've been trying to accomplish since I stepped foot in BCW. And it took a long time, a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of friendships made, a lot of friendships lost, but damn, it feels good to be the champ.
There it is. I mean, certainly ScareSlam 4, and what a match it was between you and Tsunami, and winning that championship. And I was watching the match, and certainly there was your lack of success in previous Scare Slams, and then on top of that, trying to win that BCW championship. And I guess then, was that something that was in your mind that maybe was putting pressure on you to finally win the big one here?
Yeah, I know composure is a big part of the sport. You got to be zeroed down in the scenarios you're in. You got to stay grounded in reality, try and stay as confident as you can, make sure nothing really gets to your head. So that entire day, I was just thinking about last year, and I knew that I couldn't have gone the same route. I mean, last year I lose 3 stages of hell to Christensen, literally end my hardcore championship reign by going inside a body bag. And
I was going to say, I mean, listen, the fact that you're even here, I think the last we spoke was right before that. And I mean, it's been a minute since you've been here. And in some way, people would say, well, you're lucky to be alive. But, nevertheless, you found a way. And despite all that you went through, and what made it different then in Scare Slam 4 in previous attempts to win the BCW championship? What do you think made this particular night that much different?
I think the mindset going into this match was a hell of a lot different from last year. I'm not the same person as I was last year, Tom.
Obviously.
Last year, I was 285 pounds, out of shape, out of mind. Everything was wrong for me. And this year, knowing that I was going away for a little while, I knew I had to lock in. I had to get in the best shape of my life. So I feel like that contributes a lot to where I am today. Being able to have the mental fortitude and all of that skill and being able to go out every day and just get 1% better, I feel like that's helped me out a lot to get to the point I'm at.
Absolutely, no question about that. And one of the things that you spoke about that I know has helped you get to this moment, and it was certainly referenced during the telecast at Scare Slam 4, and I'll go back and pull up some of that footage and get us ready to where we're going to go at 180. But you were training this past summer. You and I had conversations, and it was certainly for quite a while under kind of wraps. It was one of those things where, like, don't say anything, but I'm going here. And I'm like, okay, listen, I'm not going to say anything. And we were kind of waiting for that moment. I think even 1 or 2 times we were like this close to having you on. And then, something kind of changed because of where you were. You were training at Black and Brave. Obviously, everybody knows who's involved and who's behind that. In fact, it even came up on one of my shows months back, which is Mr. Seth Rollins. And what did you get from that experience then at Black and Brave, which has led you to where you are, but also a point that I think you made that's really relevant going into whatever you do in the future, is that you're in the best shape of your life. You've lost a lot of weight. You have a different mindset. So talk to me then about that experience coming out of Black and Brave and how that's prepared you to where you are now.
Going into these types of things, it's mostly blind. You don't really know what to expect because there's not a lot about it on the internet. You can try and go through every forum, every Reddit post, anything you could find to look for information. But the fact of the matter is you're not going to find much on it. So I went into this approach, pretty scared 20-year-old dude who took his Jeep Renegade out 15 hours away in the middle of the country. I was really nervous going into this.
I don't blame you. Listen, I'm in New York City, and I step outside of New York City when I went to get, my dental surgery done, which was actually probably not too far from you guys. I went down in New Jersey there, just past Rawa, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in the I've seen the light, and you went 15 hours out of your way from where you guys are. I could imagine.
Yeah, it's a whole different way of life out there. I'm a city kid. I mean, I should say a city man now, just turned 21. I can't really call myself a kid much more, but
no, you can call yourself a kid. No, 21, you're still, listen, I think you can call yourself a kid probably up until like 30. I think 20.
All right. Makes me feel better. I'll take that, yeah. But yeah, just taking a gamble on myself was really a big part of this. I mean, talking to my family members and trying to get the support to do this was a very big step in my journey. I told them, I was like, I think wrestling's one of those routes that I could end up taking in my life. there's a lot of people that might not have the heart for it, might not have the soul, but I know myself. I know I'm dedicated to every craft I take. Everything I do, I try to make sure I do it 110%. So going out there, my mindset was I want to go out there and get the best of it. And I'm not going to lie, when I got out there, the first couple of weeks were very rough. It was something I wasn't familiar with. It's a hell of a lot different from doing it on a trampoline. I mean, obviously, as you can expect.
Sure.
But the training was great. The people were even better. I made a lot of good connections out there, a lot of great advice, and everybody out there really put me in the correct path. Not too long ago, I actually wrestled down in EBW in my first in-ring match down in Delaware, and it was pretty good. So, I mean, I've had a couple matches outside of BCW so far. It's been, I mean, the resources I've had, as I said, were very great to accumulate, and I think that it's helped me out a ton in my post-training journey.
Absolutely, no question about that. I'll get to some people here in the chat, and I only know I have X amount of time with you, but how important was your support of your family? Because again, like you said, you went 15 hours away because, you know, you and I are, you know, we're near each other, but not near each other, but relatively speaking, compared to where you went out to, that's, you know, certainly a lot closer. So how important was the support of your family in giving you that so you could go down there and train and such?
Oh, man, I mean, I got text every week from family members. I'd call my mother and my father like a couple times a week. And during this process, my dad actually moved down to Texas because he had a job opportunity. So me and my father were both gone out of the house the entire summer. So there was no men in the house of Philadelphia back home for a good 3 months. But I mean, the support they gave me, you know, just texting me every day, checking in on me, seeing if I needed anything, groceries, sending me care packages from home. I mean, out in Iowa, you can't get tasty cakes. You can't get certain kind of chips.
Well, we get a lot of the guys on, you know, from IMF, and that never occurred to me that you couldn't get some of the things that, you know, tasty cakes. I know tasty cakes. I remember as a kid growing up, there was always that little section for tasty cakes. So I never realized, you know, Martin's potato rolls, right? Martin's potato rolls.
Rolls were a big one. Yeah, I didn't get, there was no type of like Italian deli rolls or anything.
Oh, like you know what? I see. This is where you and I and the BCW guys are like peas in a pod, because I, you know, since I live on Italian bread, you know, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that's what we live on. And I'm sure in Iowa, they don't have Italian bread. It never would have occurred to me until you just said that. Wow. There you go.
It wasn't like we didn't have Amoroso rolls, you know, any of the Philadelphia novelties, any of that stuff. And that was I mean, after a couple of weeks, I realized like, man, I'm missing the stuff that I had at home.
Yeah.
So I was lucky that my parents were able to send me out a bunch of stuff. Like, I mean, I remember it was Phillies baseball season. I didn't have a jersey packed. So my mom sent me a couple bags of things. I believe I had a Bryce Harper jersey was in there that I had from back home.
You could have used a few of his at bats in the playoffs in the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And I'm a Mets fan, but I was rooting for the Phillies over the Dodgers because I didn't want to see the Dodgers go back to back. But what do I know?
No, absolutely not. I was rooting against them. I was hate watching every weekend.
Well, you know, you laughed. You know, you did great. Now listen, I mean, so that is something that I have no doubt you're going to use in the future. And I want to come back to you because I have a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. I got to get to Ace Swagger. I got to certainly talk about Christian Sin here coming up here in a few weeks, which we're going to see at BCW 180 Vendetta. But let me ask you, though, this question, because everybody's talking about the news of Maxwell Reeves. Maxwell Reeves obviously announced right after you won that BCW championship, I believe the following week or so, that he is stepping away from BCW at the end of this year. You know, Maxwell has been here many times on Sportswire, and I certainly plan to bring Maxwell on before the year is that hopefully Mr. Reeves will be kind enough to want to come back. But I was wondering what your thoughts were on the news that Maxwell Reeves has decided he's stepping away from BCW at the end of this year, what your reaction was.
Yeah, you know, it was a complete shock to me because I didn't even know until he sent me a text telling me, he was like, you should probably watch through everything tonight and let me know what you think. And I wasn't aware that he was going to make this announcement. We didn't talk about this previously. I think he just kind of wanted the shock factor there. And I mean, he damn well did get it. But I mean, it's an emotional thing. This man and I have fought battle. You know, we're really good friends. And I mean, wherever
he came out and shook your hand and hugged you after what happened there when you won the championship at Scare Slam 4, and then right afterwards, the week later, we see this at the end of 25, and the year is coming to a close here. It's 6.5 weeks from now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very quick retirement tour, if you will. Not much time to get everything in. I'm very proud of him. I know wherever he's going to go, he's going to thrive. He's got everything. He's got the tools. He's got the it. I think that he'll thrive anywhere he goes. And, I mean, it's a shame that he's leaving us, but I know everything he's going to do is going to be what's best for him. And if it works out for him, I'm very happy for him. I'm obviously still going to be friends outside of the wrestling world, whatever he's going to do, whatever support he needs, I'm always going to be there to accompany him. But, I mean, I hope the next 6 weeks go exactly how they want him to. I want him to thrive. I mean, if I make it out of Christian Sin, and I have no doubt that
I'm getting to that next. Don't you worry. I'm getting to that next.
We get out of that, I will make sure no matter what he needs that he will get one more shot at the BCW championship.
That was going to certainly be my question, but certainly for sure. We want to thank Maxwell, and it's great to see the growth that the company has had. I remember when Maxwell came here on Labor Day. It was Labor Day last year, and you guys were, I think, closing in on like 500 subscribers, and you guys have, broke the door through that barrier 4 times over and such. And one more thing I wanted to ask you on Maxwell, because you haven't been here since, and I thought one of the really cool moments this year in backyard and underground wrestling was Maxwell Reeves wrestling Chase Wakefield. Chase Wakefield is a man that is certainly very well known. He's a man that has done this for a long time. He's been a staple on my platform for quite a while. And I was wondering from afar, what was your feelings in seeing that match between Maxwell Reeves and Chase Wakefield, and how big that was really, just, I think, not just for BCW, but really for the backyard and underground wrestling community.
Yeah, for one of our homegrown talents, you got to win against an established person like Chase Wakefield. I think that makes a really big staple on this business. I mean, I think Maxwell went out there, did his thing, and I didn't have any lower expectations for him to not do it. I knew that he was going to come out on top, but I didn't know about this. I didn't even know he was wrestling him until the episode came out. And I mean, because I was just so far out of the loop with a lot of stuff. I mean, I tried to, keep in as much as possible, check in, see what was going on. But for him to be able to get a match against a veteran in this business, I think it's incredible. And for him to come to our turf, I really do appreciate him coming and, showing that all wrestling matters, as we made a big deal on the show.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's something that I was really happy to see. And obviously, I think it shows in what you guys have meant and that endorsement. I think there's been a lot that's said out there in backyard and underground wrestling, but this was really one of those special moments. And I have the footage here, and I'll get to everybody quickly in the chat because we know the champ has a few things to get to. But if you are here, do me a favor, please hit the sub button for BCW. And we're very honored to have on here the BCW champion himself, Mr. Caden Gallows. And he's going to be in action here coming up against Christian Sin. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally here where all wrestling matters. That is Sportswire Radio, when we're also all music matters. And usually we're not here in the afternoons, but we make a special exemption because obviously it's Caden Gallows. He hasn't been here in a moment, and we'll get to everybody here in the chat. Obviously, that's great. We'll put that back later up. But I did want to talk to you about what you're going to be up to here. Come on, a lot to get into in a short amount of time, because you are putting up your championship against Christian Sin. Now, he certainly did a few things to you after your own, quite a celebration. Maxwell came out, you and A Swagger, a lot to get into. So, what's your state of mind going into this showdown here coming up very soon against Mr. Christian Sin, where you're putting up that BCW championship?
Yeah, I should have known after the first time that maybe there was a snake in the grass, and I think it was my own blindness and vision to see that I put too much trust in people that I shouldn't have. And I get it. The first time Christian needed to snap me back into reality, and I think he did, because I came back to earth after a little bit. But this time was different. This didn't feel like it wasn't out of violence or anything of my problems. This seems like it was a personal issue that he had. And me and Christian, we've known each other a very long time. We've been to high school together. Me and him were very good friends outside of this business. Wrestling isn't just where Caden Gallows and Christian Sin come together. We've been friends for a very long time, and for this cocky, arrogant man to come out of here and the words, they I think my actions are going to speak a lot louder than my words. And I'm going to prove that at BCW Vendetta when I kick his ass again.
Well, you've done a lot, certainly in your own time in BCW, but it seems to me, champ, that you're hurt personally by what Christian Sin did to you at 177. When we're seeing you obviously here now, but I mean, I'll put that footage up in a minute, but you're obviously hurt by that. I think the word is betrayed. Betrayed seems to be that word, sir.
Yeah, I feel like, backstabbing's been a thing that I've dealt with in my career. But, if Christian had this sort of problem, me and him, as I've said, we've been friends. Friends just would go up to each other and we would resort this out like men. You don't have to make this an issue on the biggest episode of BCW. In our anniversary, make that even. We came into this at BCW 77 in, I believe it was last March, or March of 2024. We came into this company together.
Your debut was 100. That was your 100th episode, right?
Yes, that was 100th episode of me and Christian Sin. And I guess he just wanted to make it a point. And after last week, when he told me his motives, I think it's a piece of jealousy, Tom. I think that this man is so jealous that the success that I've put up for myself and the things that I've earned that he couldn't accomplish. And I gave him the opportunity. He gave me the opportunity to go for the BCW championship when me and him wrestled in my first match back in BCW since coming back from Iowa. And the fact of the matter is that I beat him clean. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was the better person that day. I was the person who won that match.
There's the footage from the week prior. That's the footage here. Obviously, this was your celebration episode, champ. And, obviously, Maxwell came out, and I see Maxwell. I'll say hello to Maxwell and everybody here in a few minutes. But it was your moment. It was supposed to be your celebration. And, let's just say that we weren't singing "Celebrate Good Times." Come on, to quote Kool and the Gang. There, you definitely weren't getting that after what we're about to see shortly. So I can imagine why you're upset.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think, as I said, I think it's jealousy. I think it's envy, and it's a shame. I gave him a lot of resources. I brought him here with me. I was one of the people that recruited him to come with me because I realized that we could do great things together. And the fact of the matter is that he's not matured yet. He's not grown up. He doesn't realize the opportunities that are given to him are earned. And I've earned all my opportunities in this company. I didn't want anything ever given to me. I had to earn it or I had to take it. There was one way or the other. And it just doesn't.
But you do know, though, that in this sport, and this always comes up on Sportswire over the years, that this is a dog-eat-dog business. And, there really isn't, when you think about it, at the end of the day, there isn't much loyalty. Everybody's out for themselves. You have to know that. You've been around now a bit.
Yeah, I think that's just something I really have to learn. And
you can't be as naive. I think that could be the demise or the downfall, some would say, going into what we're going to see at 180 Vendetta. But obviously, listen, Christensen is going to be like everybody else. You may have thought he was a friend. He may have been somebody that you went to school with, but people change. It happens all the time. Listen, I went to school with a lot of people that I thought I would be friends with for life. And what happens over time? People change or people move on, and he saw that you have something that he wants. You have something very valuable to him. And that is that BCW championship, a prize that so many in our circuit would long for. And he wants that. And that's, in a way, it might be your demise coming up.
Yeah, I believe you're right. When you said I was naive, you're damn right I was. And now that I see it and, I'm watching it back, I really see where I went wrong. I let my guard down. I don't want to assume this for everybody because I know there are great people in this business, and I know that some people are going to be there for success. They're going to be there to help. But I got to be careful who I trust now, and I think that's a huge thing going forward. It's got to be something I got to keep my eyes on.
Absolutely, no question about that. And that is coming up next weekend. That is next Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. That is BCW 180 Vendetta. BCW, let me tell you something. Like I said, I remember when Maxwell came here the first time, and we had them right around 500 subs. They are 4 times that. We famously had Tsunami and Maxwell Reeves here at the same time on Sportswire. So if you've been following us here, we've definitely had some coverage of BCW throughout the past year and change, and that's certainly not going to change coming forward. And please hit the sub button for BCW so you can stay up to date. We'll get to everybody here in the chat very quickly. But I kind of think, and tell me your thoughts on this, and that the cards there symbolize that Christensen is a wild card, and I see that there. I see the Queen of Hearts. I see the Aces. I see all that there, and that's what could be. It's a vendetta, but he's a wild card. This is your first true defenses champion, and they say in this sport, one of the most difficult things is to transition from being the hunter to the hunted. And one of the other things that they say is most difficult at anything is the first time out for an incumbent, their first defenses champion. I always reference my background in politics and my political career. One of the things they've always said in politics, doesn't matter what the party is, when somebody gets elected, the first time they're on the ballot for the re-election is the most difficult thing. And you're pretty much in the same category right now. You're in the same position right now. This is your first shot at defending your championship. This might be the most vulnerable and most difficult position you're in, and you're making that transition from being the hunter to the hunted. How do you adjust to all of that to make sure that by the time November 22nd at, let's say, I don't know, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time rolls around, we're not calling you the ex-BCW World Heavyweight Champion?
I think I just need to go into this very level-headed. I can't get my emotions too high. I mean, I know exactly what this man's done to me. As you can see, I had a little bit of a different demeanor going into the interview, and now that we're sitting watching it back, it's kind of ticked me off a little bit more. So I think I just need to go in level-headed. Don't let my emotions get to me. And I got to remember who I am, because I'm the BCW champion, and nobody's going to take that away from me. And I promise you it won't be Christensen.
Absolutely, no question. That we'll certainly find out. And I wanted to ask you, so what everybody else has had on the mind is this whole thing between you and Ace Swagger. I'm still trying to figure this all out, and I think some people are still. And I got to ask you now, what is going on there between you two?
So before I left, I told Ace Swagger, I don't want to keep you restrained to me. I don't need you to stick around or anything, but you always got a friend, and I will always make sure that I'm there for your support. If you need anything while I'm gone, let me know. I'm going to try and keep keep my tabs on you as much as possible. And he said, as far as you are away, I don't want to get rid of you. You brought me into this company. You really gave me a lot. And I mean, he's a very humble kid. I appreciate him for everything he's done for me. And he actually brought up the idea. He said, Tsunami's weak right now. He's vulnerable. He thinks he's got everything in his hand. But do you want me to, sneak in for something? Do you want me to try and befriend him? And I was sitting there in my little room in Iowa, and I'm just like, that's the smartest thing that I've ever heard someone say to me. And honest to God, I mean, I never even thought about that idea. And I said, you know what, Ace? Do it. I said, Ace, if you think you can take the foundation and crumble it from the within, go do it. And me and him kept tabs on each other. And the only problem that we had over the summer that this all went south with was during the ladder match. I told Ace before that match, no matter what you do, I don't want you to screw over Maxwell Reeves. Because I knew if Maxwell Reeves and I were to come into contact with each other, coming back into BCW, it could have been me versus Maxwell Reeves at Scare Slam. It could have not been me versus Tsunami.
Yeah, Maxwell went through a lot this year. That has been a topic here on previous episodes this year. I mean, that has been a thing.
Yeah, and I didn't want it to happen to Maxwell, because Maxwell Reeves has literally walked through fire in this business. He's earned everything.
Absolutely. We talked about what the moment that he rightfully earned and defeating Chase Wakefield.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate it happened that way. And Ace, he kind of read the room. He knew that there was nothing else to do. But unfortunately, take him out. And I had, some strong words and opinions against that. The whole idea was to prevent NJN from taking the title back.
Yeah.
Because I've seen what that man could do with it, and I've seen him And that's just something we don't need in the business. It's not good for business anymore. So my whole goal was just to make sure that man did not get his hands back on the title. Obviously, things went the wrong way, and we're now stuck in the predicament where we're in now. But there is a little bit of animosity between Ace and Maxwell. I could see that. I know Maxwell Reeves. I know that he's still a little untrusted with me and Ace. He knows that, maybe there's a potential chance.
Well, what about even the way you won the championship? Ace comes out the first time, okay, but then he comes out later on, and it in a way contributed to you winning that BCW championship. And Maxwell knows the history there, and that maybe could be understandable. Going back to the word we used earlier with you is naive, and maybe that's in a way where Maxwell is upset because he does consider you still a friend, but he sees maybe you're naive also when it comes to the man you're next to in the hardcore champion, Ace Swagger.
Yeah, I think Ace definitely helped me out winning. I mean, he was probably the prime suspect to help me win. I was hoping I could just do it on my own, and I didn't really ask him to come out and help me do it. But at the end of the day, the opportunity struck. The pitch was just right, Tom, and, hit a grand slam on it.
And you know what? We wish the Phillies certainly could have used that during Game 4 of the division series, or even when it was the bases loaded and all we had to do was just get that double play and the game is over. But, certainly also we could say, well, if Tsunami would have connected when he tried to curb stomp you onto the pumpkin, certainly, thankfully, he missed on that. That would have been another point. But there it is right now, and Maxwell is looking at you, and he's pointing fingers, and, I just hope that what you're surrounded with in this swirl of, I guess, this trust that I hope is going to be in your favor and work coming up here next Saturday at Vendetta, where you'll be defending that BCW championship. You're coming up against Christensen. We're also going to see Ace Swagger, and he's going to be putting up his hardcore championship against the one and only Maxwell Reeves. We're going to get to everybody here in the chat shortly, but I want to ask you one more question. And you are now in rarefied air as one of a few select people to have won the BCW and the BCW hardcore championship. And what does that mean to you?
It's such a hell of an accolade because there's very few people that have done it in our company. And I didn't even know how many or how little people did this until after I won the match. When they told me backstage, like, yo, you're like now, like, in our technicality, a Grand Slam champion. So yeah. I got an opportunity to hold both of them and to do it in less than a year too, because I think, if I'm not wrong, Scare Slam 3 came out October 29th. So in a little less than a year, I was able to hold both championships at one time. And I think that's one hell of an accolade for me to do. I just wanted
It's tough anywhere in wrestling. I even go back when it was a big deal when Bret Hart was, I believe, the first Grand Slam champion in WWF history at the time. And then right away it was like Diesel did it, and then it was Shawn Michaels that did it, and it was like it's a really big thing anytime in this sport. We were talking about this on Sunday's show. We had on a guy, the Wilster, who had become a Grand Slam champion. It's very, very hard in any sport or in any company in wrestling to be a Grand Slam champion. It's a very difficult thing.
Yeah, it definitely was hard to accomplish, and I just wanted it to be a piece of my, like, I want it to be an ode to my success, that you can work hard and get to it. Because, I mean, you saw, most people did, everybody watching BCW saw the toll that BCW took on me from Scare Slam last year all the way through. Didn't have much luck, honestly. I came short in a lot of places. I lost to Maxwell for the BCW championship.
I remember
lost a gridlock match. I lost to Tsunami. It was a very dark path that I went down last year.
Literally.
Yeah, that got me to Trampomania. And I mean, for me to get that win back at Trampomania, and this goes back all the way there, I mean, I think that's what kind of started my rise. And for me to come back, better than ever, knowing a lot of knowledge that I do in the business now, a lot of learning, I think that helped me and definitely got me to a great point.
Well, it's gotten you to where you are right now, which is what we're seeing on the screen. That is that BCW World Heavyweight Championship, which you will be defending. I have some comments to get to before I get to closing thoughts and give you something as well. So I want to make sure I take care of all ends of business here on Sportswire Radio. And I'm actually enjoying an afternoon edition. I haven't done one of these in a while, but what comes up must come down, and we're certainly coming down after a high of seeing you win that championship. Thank you to management. We appreciate management, and it's great to be back. And I haven't seen Hillbilly Tilly in quite a while, and a man that knows a thing or two about the backyard circuit said would like to say hello to both of us. And yeah, you know what? I mean, the Eagles, I'll tell you what, what they did in going to Lambeau and winning, and just their own run right now, they're primed and poised to go back-to-back. And, it's very hard to be back-to-back Super Bowl winners. So maybe your luck is going to help those Eagles later on this year into 26.
Yep, one could pray. One could pray.
Well, you know what? I like to tell people, we're talking about this on Sunday's show real quick, even though I'm in New York City and people kind of claim the Giants and Jets, my long theory has been, well, they don't play here, so I just rather claim them as the New Jersey's team. So you have a little bit, at least, you could say you can claim your team, whereas I always like to say they're New Jersey. So the Bills, people would say, but it doesn't have the same kick. So at least your team has had some success these last several years. Caden Gallows has a great selection of content, which we see in the background, by the way, in which you want to watch.
Yeah, this is I have on what's it called? I put Trampomania on because might as well leave it for the backdrop.
It was a smart move. That was
one of our best shows to date. Definitely.
Got the Eagles gear there. You got the BCW stuff. I mean, you're primed and poised. I mean, listen, that's why you got to hit the sub button for BCW. Thank you very much. And also, we hope that Gallows puts Sin in line. He's been on a rampage attacking you, obviously Swagger and Maxwell Reeves in less than 2 weeks because he sees something you have that's valuable. And I said it. Listen, I see this all the time, man. When somebody has success and they hold something they want, that it doesn't matter about friendship. It doesn't matter about loyalty. It's just the old age story.
Yeah, the situation's bad when our management team's speaking out on this. This is basically a PR addressment. And wow. I mean, I'm glad that I have them on my side, even though I'm sure they're probably not allowed to pick favorites. But
yes.
At least we let them know what's right and what's wrong. I mean, I very do appreciate the support.
And we appreciate them. And I want to say hello to my guest here Friday night, Mr. AJ Harrison, who was in a battle with Comatose, who was on here Monday, and he wanted to say, let's go Mets, which I'm a Mets fan, so he's making me feel a little bit better. But this Met team is got some real decisions to figure out. Spend money on Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso, but then I just read that the Mets lost $350 million this year, so we'll have to see. But that's for a different show at a different time. We also did not want the Dodgers going back-to-back. Whether it's the Eagles or the Jays, it's still go Birds. You know what? I have to say it because my buddy Joe Rosas, in beautiful Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, on my birthday, we watched the Blue Jays Yankees, and I came over to his house, and he has an 86-inch television, by the way. We watched Game 4, and boy, he didn't even want to talk baseball afterwards, but I did root for the Blue Jays. I was rooting for them, and I was devastated for them the way they lost the seventh game of the World Series. But that's how it goes. Go Phils, the fighting Phils, and Phils have their own decisions to make. We'll talk about that at a different time. Zilla's here. Zilla would not miss this for the world, and she says that you are her crush. And thank you, Zilla, for being here. She also wants to say hello to AJ. AJ was here on Monday's show, and thank you to Hillbilly Tilly. And there is Maxwell, and I'll speak with Maxwell off the air because we got to get Maxwell on here. I mean, I definitely, like you, was taken back last week about the news of Maxwell deciding he's going to leave BCW. I think that's a really, I did not think I would have seen that right away. So there's a lot to talk about there as well, and certainly Vendetta 180. And happy belated birthday to you. 21.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yep, 21.
Did you go out and have a drink?
I had multiple. One would say I had one too many libations. But
okay, good. Well, at least you can legally do it now. Now, I don't drink, but I'm glad that you got to have a few drinks. And my enforcer of Sportswire Radio, Mr. Ox McCoy, who I hope is doing better here, would like to say hello. And he's wondering, what are we doing here? Well, it's an afternoon edition because Wednesday nights I cover news and politics on the radio, which is with Mr. Heshi Tischler. We're on WNEW 102.7 FM, WJPR 1640 AM in beautiful Miami, Florida, and WSNR 620 AM via the Talkline Radio Network. And That's why I'm not here. And you're also a very busy man because you've got press stuff to do at BCW. And that's why we're killing two birds with one stone. You can make friends or be successful in this business. You can't have both. Excellent point. I see it all the time. I'm doing this 7 years. It just can't, it's not going to be that way. And Maxwell basically gives the dot, meaning that he agrees. Please follow BCW on Instagram. Also follow you on Instagram. And also thank you to AJ. All right. I know I got to get to closing words with you in a minute, but I got something for you. I wanted to put up on my screen. So hopefully you allow me to do it because I know it's kind of long overdue. And I think it's the right time because after what you just did, and for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, congratulations. There you go. Now I can put you in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame because A, you went to Black and Brave, and B, you got the BCW championship. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's truly an honor.
Yes, well overdue. It's well overdue. I know we've had you on a few times, but I don't think the state of mind you were in might not have been the right time, but I think this is the better time, and we'll give you the physical copy when we're off the air, and congratulations. Thank you. And, your hard work is paying off, and I have no doubt that you're going to help continue to grow BCW in your own journey. So, all right, obviously we've spoke a lot on a lot of different topics, so I want to give you the opportunity here, especially for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio. If you have any final words for Christian Sin here on Sportswire before next Saturday night.
As I've said, Christian's a very good friend, or at least I could say he was a very good friend.
Yeah, I was going to say was at this point. I don't know if I'd say is a great friend now.
And I know he's not doing the work that I've been doing. I know he's not getting the cardio. He's not getting the reps. So I'm ready to go into this. I'm going to go in very level-headed, as I said. I'm not going to stress too much because I know the work that I'm putting in makes me almost an undeniable lock to retain my BCW championship.
Ooh, it almost sounds like you're my guest here on Monday, the psychotic freak who went on with the freak math. You're not going that far, but you just said you're a lock.
Yeah, I'm not going to be cocky. I'm going to be confident. But one thing's for certain, I'm walking out of BCW Vendetta holding the BCW championship for sure.
Well, you fought very hard for it, and there's no question that we're excited to see what happens, and as well as the rest of the card. Obviously, Maxwell Reeves is in action. We spoke a little bit about it, and I'm sure we're going to talk post 180 Vendetta, and also Maxwell. Obviously, we want to certainly celebrate and honor his career here in BCW, but that is the match. It's going to take place next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, when BCW 180's latest show, Vendetta, and it's going to be one of the biggest BCW's had today. BCW continues to just grow, and join them by hitting the sub button, and also please support them on Instagram and also Patreon. BCW has a Patreon page, so I'd really welcome everybody there. Now, I see somebody here, Jennifer. I haven't seen her here on Sportswire, so thank you very much for tuning in. Maybe I've seen you and not seen you on Sportswire on my YouTube channel, but very lovely young lady, and she goes to the shows in Pennsylvania, Mon Valley Pro Wrestling, and she'll probably tune in to when I'm here next week with some of the likes of the collectives, Dave Jameson, Ampo the Destroyer, Daniel Tafua, and the likes of Godric Sandwell, and maybe, who knows, you might even join them. You might even join them in the ring now that you've went to Black and Brave. Maybe we'll see you.
I'm always open for, if any invitations, I'm always open.
What? There's a lot of companies I've had on here in the past. Mon Valley Pro Wrestling. There's, EBW and Glock Cluster. There's 814 Wrestling. I mean, there's a lot of places, and that maybe you'll show up and join them. I don't know. I mean, because now that you can actually do it, maybe our friend in the WVWF in West Virginia, Parkersburg, West Virginia, or SCW, and also shout outs to the Cease and Desist is who I know Jennifer also knows, and Hype Man Dan Lasers, the Rare Bird Chris Phoenix, and you might join them. And Day is awesome. She's awesome. She's also wearing a shirt of a guy, Andrew Lovelace, who's back on here next weekend, I believe, with Max the Hammer, a beautiful young lady, if I could say that. And hopefully everybody will give her a follow on TikTok. She's big on TikTok, and a lot bigger. And there's a lot of them. Yeah, they're going to be on Sportswire very soon. And definitely check her out. She's awesome. And thank you, Zilla. And I haven't seen her recently. But all right, let me pass the baton to you while we have a chance. Let me give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say? The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, no, I want to thank everybody who's been contributing to BCW's success. This goes a lot more than just the in-ring work. It's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, a lot of production. Being able to launch a Patreon not too long ago, I
Yeah,
think that,
Patreon's awesome. You know what?
yeah,
It's good you did that.
it's been an absolute great step up in our game. We're trying to make sure we put the best content out for you guys, as well as making sure everybody's entertained. We try to listen to the audience, whatever you guys give recommendations, anything like that. We get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of DMs from people, putting in their input. I love to hear that. And going forward, if I make it out next week against Christensen, I'm willing and open to defend that BCW championship anytime, anywhere, any place. No travel restrictions. I'll be fine going anywhere. If anybody wants to come to us, we could source some stuff out. But, I'm really excited to continue my reign of success. Let's start it off strong, beat Christensen, and somewhere down the road, hopefully I get to see Maxwell Reeves one more time.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask Maxwell about that. If you get past Christensen next Saturday, I'll ask him. I'll ask him about that. He'll be on, I'm sure, before the year is out, and we'll figure a day, and I'm sure that'll be a topic. So, we'll see if he get past Christian first. Get past Christian first, and that there he is, and that's where he won it on Scare Slam 4, literally a week before his birthday. Please follow him on Instagram and also support BCW. You can hit the sub button for BCW and check them out and all the great things that BCW has to offer. And they've been great friends with us, and I really appreciate them. And also, yes, Andrew Lovelace is due to be on Sportswire, and that is next Saturday night. So I hope you'll be there. And keep being you, and you're the best. So there you go. Yep, you definitely earned being in the Hall of Fame, which Mr. Lovelace is also a part of. We'll give you the physical copy when we're off the air. And thank you so much, my friend. Congratulations. It was long overdue to see you here on Sportswire, but long overdue to see you win that BCW championship and join rarefied air of being a BCW champion and previously a hardcore champion. Can't wait to see what happens next Saturday night. The best is yet to come, and we'll see you soon, my friend. Hopefully it'll be a lot sooner than your last appearance till now on Sportswire.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I very much appreciate it.
Yes, always good to have you. You've always been a good friend. And yeah, we'll have a lot of shows you'll probably be into. Like I said, next Monday, the Collective is here. I have this guy, Wyatt Black. I have, like I said, we have Godric Sandwell and Andrew Lovelace. So she'll be here. She's awesome. Check out Mon Valley Pro. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally with all music and wrestling matters. I'll be here tomorrow night, sometime between 9:30 and 9:45 Eastern time. With some of the guys in Iowa. There you go. Some of the guys in Iowa in the IMF. But until then, hit the sub button for us. Hit the sub button for BCW. Follow Caden Gallows. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one Global Radio. This is Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.